Imagine finding yourself on the island of Crete, your hands bound, standing in the front of a line of 13 other young Athenian nobles. You're being led into the vast, shadowy entrance of an ancient underground labyrinth. Deep within, the growls of a monstrous beast echo against the cold stone walls. This creature, half man, half bull, hungers for human flesh. Each step you take could be your last. Among you might be the legendary hero, Theseus, your only hope for escape. But as you walk in deeper, your only companion is the darkness. So sit back and relax as we unveil the mysteries of mythology, Theseus and the Minotaur. The story of Theseus and the Minotaur is not a single tale, but the climax of two journeys, the heroes and the beasts. The first of our stories unfolds on the island of Crete. In ancient Crete, we meet King Minos, a ruler known for his tyranny and grand ambitions. Minos was gifted with strength and the favor of the gods. This was because his father, like many characters in Greek mythology, was Zeus. His mother, Europa, was a beautiful Phoenician princess whose beauty had caught the attention of Zeus. One day, as Europa walked along the beach with two of her friends, they came across a beautiful white bull. The bull was gentle and majestic, and each of the girls attempted to mount and ride it. A common theme throughout this myth is the powerful animal, the bull, and there is an important reason for this, which I'll go over at the end of this video. Of the three girls, Europa was quickest. What Europa didn't know was that the bull was Zeus disguised as the animal. Slowly Zeus, with Europa on his back, began to walk away from the other two girls. As they began to follow, Zeus turned and began to walk into the seawater. Europa was impressed by how well the bull swam, seemingly surfing over the waves. But when she turned back, she noticed how deep they were, and the bull was only getting faster. Afraid of drowning, she clung to the bull as it swam deeper into the sea. After some time, they arrived on a beach that was both beautiful and unrecognizable to Europa. The land they arrived on was Crete, the birthplace of Zeus. Zeus promised his love to Europa and great honors for her and her children. One of her children was Minos. Time passed, and Minos became king of Crete. Minos prospered from the strategic location of Crete, which was in the center of the Mediterranean trade route. Minos used this wealth to construct the great palace of Knossos, enlisting the help of the genius architect and inventor Daedalus, who would be vital to this story later. But with all his wealth and majestic palaces, Minos's rule was contested. To prove his unquestionable right to the throne, Minos asked Poseidon, the mighty god of the sea, for a magnificent pure white bull to sacrifice to the gods. Poseidon agreed, and soon after, a great white bull was found on the shores of the island of Crete. This wasn't just any bull. It was a creature of such stunning beauty and strength that it seemed more divine than earthly. But King Minos, struck by the bull's majesty, decided to defy the god. He couldn't bear to part with such a perfect animal that he could use to breed with the rest of his herd. So, in a foolish move, Minos kept the bull for himself and offered the largest and palest bull from his herd in its place to Poseidon. Angered by Minos's betrayal, Poseidon sought retribution. In his divine wrath, he cast two curses, a vengeful plan that would turn Minos's pride into his greatest nightmare. His first curse filled the great white bull he had gifted with rage and a thirst for destruction, causing widespread damage across King Minos's kingdom. The second curse struck Queen Pasiphae, Minos's wife, with a most unnatural and uncontrollable desire. She became consumed with a forbidden passion for the sacred bull, the very creature that Minos had refused to sacrifice. Driven by this overwhelming infatuation, Queen Pasiphae sought the help of the inventor, Daedalus. Daedalus, caught in this divine drama, crafted an elaborate and lifelike cow made of wood and leather. Inside this faux cow, Queen Pasiphae hid, luring the sacred bull to her. The union of Pasiphae and the bull led to her pregnancy and the birth of a creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull, the Minotaur. Why the king didn't kill this abomination is unsure. Perhaps he felt pity for the creature, but this seems unlikely. What seems a more credible reason was that he didn't wish to further enrage the wrath of Poseidon. For whatever reason, the Minotaur, who was named Asterion, survived. But as he grew, the Minotaur developed a terrifying hunger, one that could only be satisfied with human flesh. King Minos, faced with the horror of what his actions had brought upon his kingdom, knew he had to contain this abomination. He turned once again to Daedalus, this time tasking him with creating a structure that could imprison the Minotaur. Daedalus's solution was a labyrinth, a maze so complex and convoluted that escape seemed impossible. Within this labyrinth, the Minotaur was sealed away, hidden from the world but ever present, a constant reminder of the cost of defying the gods. But even from deep within the earth, the residents of Crete felt the wrath of the Minotaur, whose rage shook the earth. But what does a beast trapped deep in the underground of Crete have to do with a hero from Athens? Before the Olympics, there was the Panathenaic Games, a celebration of athletics, music, and a celebration of Athenian culture. One year, King Minos's son, Androgeus, attended the games. His father, being a demigod, meant that Androgeus also had superhuman strength and power, but before the end of the games, Androgeus was killed. Some believe he was killed by his envious competitors who felt cheated by his divine strength. Others say he was killed by the fierce marathon bull at the end of the games. When Minos heard of his son's death at the hands of the Athenians, it unleashed a rage that would threaten the entire city of Athens. After failed attempts to invade Athens, Minos prayed to his father Zeus to avenge his son. Zeus answered the prayers of Minos, and Athens was struck with famine and plague. Desperate for the suffering to end, the Athenians begged Minos for forgiveness, offering anything he wished. To appease his wrath, Minos asked for 14 children of Athens, 7 young men and 7 beautiful women, every 9 years as a sacrifice for the loss of his son. These sacrifices would be used to feed the Minotaur. Our second branch in this tale began with the king of Athens, King Aegeus. The king, despite many attempts, was struggling to gain a male heir. So he visited an oracle to ask what he could do. The oracle, who as oracles often would, gave him strange and vague advice.
Loose not the wineskin's jutting neck, great chief of the people, until thou shalt have come once more to the city of Athens.
Puzzled, Aegeus visited his wise friend and king of Troezen, Pittheus. He told Aegeus that he would explain the riddle on the condition that he remain a guest for the night in his palace. After much drinking, Pittheus called for his beautiful daughter, Princess Aethra. Pittheus planned to trick Aegeus. The oracle's vague riddle advised Aegeus not to sleep with any women until he had returned to Athens. But Pittheus translated the message that Aegeus should sleep with the first woman he saw on his way to Athens. By spending the night with Aethra, Aegeus changed the balance of power with Pittheus and the kingdom of Troezen. Later that night, walking on the beach, Aethra was met by Poseidon, who also made love to her. The combined child of Aegeus and Poseidon would be born a demigod. Hearing that Princess Aethra was pregnant, Aegeus buried a pair of sandals and his sword beneath a giant rock and told Aethra never to disclose that he was the child's father. He told her that if the child was a boy and grew strong, he should lift the rock, take the sandals and sword, and journey to Athens. When the boy was born, he was named Theseus. As predicted, the child grew up strong. When he was old enough, Theseus's mother told him about his true father, King Aegeus, and of the sandals and swords hidden beneath the giant rock. With his godlike strength, he lifted the giant rock, acquiring the items. His grandfather offered him a ship to journey to his father, but Theseus refused. Holding the sandals and sword his father had left him, he replied, "There will be no honor in arriving in Athens without dusty sandals and blood on the sword's blade. Therefore I reject your courtesy and I will carve my own path." Theseus made a long, difficult journey, with 6 notorious challenges or labors. With every adversary, Theseus would use the same method to beat his adversaries which they had used to attack him. He finally arrived in Athens, now a hero, and was recognized by his father during a dinner. His father soon made him crown prince and heir to Attica. It was during his stay in Athens that he heard of the sacrifice the Athenians made to Crete every 9 years. Theseus volunteered to be one of the tributes sent to Crete, a bold move that surprised many. His father, King Aegeus, was filled with dread at the thought of losing his son to the Minotaur, but Theseus was determined. He told his father that either peacefully or by his sword he would end this cycle of sacrifice. As Theseus sailed towards the island, he prayed for strength, wisdom, and fortune with his next challenge. Upon his arrival in Crete, Theseus's destiny began to intertwine with that of another key figure in our tale, Ariadne, the daughter of King Minos. The moment Ariadne laid eyes on Theseus, she fell in love. Struck by his courage and noble spirit, she felt a connection that would soon blossom into something deeper. Even though the act would mean defying her father and potentially angering the gods, Ariadne gave Theseus a slender, unassuming spool of thread. This thread was to be Theseus's lifeline, a guide to navigate the convoluted passages of the labyrinth. As Theseus entered the labyrinth, he clutched the thread tightly, unwinding it behind him. With each step into the maze's depths, he ventured further into darkness and uncertainty. The labyrinth was a place of shadows and echoes, a maze so complex that it was said no one who entered could ever find their way out. Yet, with Ariadne's thread in hand, Theseus moved forward, driven by a mixture of determination and dread. Deep within the labyrinth, in its very heart, Theseus finally confronted the Minotaur. The beast, born of tragedy and cursed by its existence, stood as a formidable opponent. The Minotaur, with its towering form and sharp horns, was a creature of nightmares, a symbol of the dark consequences of human folly and divine wrath. In the dimly lit corridors of the labyrinth, a fierce battle ensued between Theseus and the Minotaur. Armed with a sword Ariadne gave him and his courage, Theseus faced the half-man, half-bull monster. The Minotaur, enraged and powerful, charged at Theseus with terrifying force. The walls of the labyrinth echoed with the sounds of their struggle as Theseus skillfully dodged the beast's deadly horns. Their battle was a dance of death and determination. In the end, Theseus emerged victorious, slaying the Minotaur and breaking the curse that had plagued Crete. Guided by the thread, he retraced his steps, emerging from the labyrinth as a hero who had conquered the impossible. This might be a good time to please the gods of mythology with a quick ritual. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and strike the bell for notifications. With the Minotaur defeated and the labyrinth conquered, Theseus and Ariadne embarked on their journey back to Athens. As they sailed away from Crete, the couple stopped at the island of Naxos. Here, fate intervened in their lives once again. Some versions of the story say that the god Dionysus appeared in Theseus's dreams, telling him to leave Ariadne, for the god was in love with her. Other tales say that he either chose to leave her or forget her on the island. In all versions, Theseus left Ariadne while she slept on the island. Back in Athens, Theseus's return was marked by both triumph and tragedy. Before he left, Theseus's father told him to change the sails from black to white to signal that he had succeeded in his quest. In his haste and the whirlwind of events, he forgot to change the sails of his ship from black to white, a signal to his father that he had survived. Seeing the black sails from afar, Aegeus was overcome with grief, believing his son to be dead. In his despair, he threw himself into the sea, which henceforth bore his name, the Aegean Sea. Theseus's victory over the Minotaur and his return to Athens marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. He assumed the throne of Athens, becoming a wise and powerful ruler, his deeds and adventures continuing to shape the myths and legends of ancient Greece. Surprisingly, in the early texts of this myth, there was no physical description of the Minotaur's half-human, half-bull form. Instead, what's consistently mentioned is its underground dwelling and the catastrophic consequences of its roar. This aspect of the story, rather than its physical description, seems to be crucial. Crete's geological setting gives us fascinating insights. The island is part of the Aegean block, sitting atop a subduction zone where the oceanic Nubian block slides beneath it. This geological feature is prone to causing frequent and intense earthquakes. In 2014 alone, Crete experienced over 1,300 earthquakes, significantly more than larger regions like Southern California. And this is just a theory, but it might be that the bull represents the seismic activity in the area, and that perhaps the sacrifices from Athens were to appease the gods and avoid further earthquakes. What do you think of Theseus's journey? Does it teach us more about the hero's courage or about the perils of defying the divine? Let me know in the comments. Now you know the legend of Theseus and the Minotaur. The next videos will help you achieve the next level of mastery of the mysteries of mythology. Curious? Join me in the next video.